illustration. He had alternate titles: Amaga, Damuzid, Damuzi. Tammuz, the Sumerian, Dumuzi and Mesopotamian religion, god of fertility, embodying the powers for new life in nature in the spring. The name Tammuz seems to have been derived from the Akkadian form Tammuzi, based on the early Sumerian Damuzid, the flawless young, which in later standard Sumerian became Dumuzid or Dumuzi. The earliest known mention of Tammuz is in texts dating to the early part of the early dynastic third period, but his cult probably was much older. Although the cult is attested for most of the major cities of Sumer in the third and second millennium, it centered in the cities around the central steppe area. For example, at Bad Triba, where Tammuz was the city god. So right here we have the group Bone Thugs in Harmony. As we can see in the photo composition, they have the crossroads. So this is in reference to Tammuz on the left hand side, which is their Christ. Okay, this has nothing to do with the biblical Hamashiach. Okay, but the world is oblivious to this because they're caught into idolatry, right? But we also got to remember too that the cross was not a good connotation. It was a negative connotation, right? So the definition of a negative connotation is a word, sign, or object that we regard with a bad association. For example, a red X is something we regard with a negative connotation because we associate it with failure. Negative connotations are used in writing to influence tone and diction. So the cross is nothing to venerate, but you have millions of ignorant, dumb, buffoon people wearing crosses because they don't read and they don't study, right?
We have to understand that all of this Freemason, Illuminati, all of this is just symbols. These all come from Babylon, and it really comes from Babylon and Egypt. Okay, Egypt had all of the New Age symbols and the mystic symbols and the paganism symbols and the witchcraft symbols. Egypt had all of them. They got them from Babylon. Okay, so Egypt is where a lot of this religion, this what we consider new, is coming from. That's why you got these Kemet brothers, and then you know they studying Egyptology, and they getting all into what really is witchcraft, and they don't even know, because they thinking that they found a long lost culture, the African culture. They have no idea that African culture was demon worship. That's what they do. They worship what they believe were their ancestors. They only say ancestors now, but in ancient days, they knew they were worshiping Anubis. They knew who the gods of Egypt. They knew what they were worshiping. They didn't call them ancestors, but because they had to clean it up a little bit and call it their ancestors, but it's just the same demons.
Let's look at the occult origins of Christianity. The cross, a symbol of death. But did you know that the cube of Pinhead opens up into a cross? Did you know that? Did these occult Jews create Christianity with the hidden agenda to trap our spirits into this religion of death? Have we been tricked into venerating what we thought was saints is really demons? Could we actually be worshiping the devil in place of God? You don't know the half. You better understand that a lot of these symbols have more than one origin and definition. See, you got to understand the occult origins of the pre-Arab and the Talmud, pre-Torah Jew. You see, in this cube, you have to understand that when Hitler began to kill the Jews, he also killed the Gypsy, and the Gypsies were also occultists. And the pre-Islamic Arab was also an occultist. You see the Aladdin flying on magic carpets, and you see what I'm saying, and the genies and the jinn, and and Solomon, both tied to Solomon and his control over the jinn and the 72 demons. This is where you get Kaaba out of Kabbalah, which is the practice of demonology. Look it up. See, you got to understand the occult origins. See, a lot of people don't know the occult origins of pre-Judaic Judaism. You see, which is Kabbalism. That is what they was into before they got the Talmud, before they got the Torah. That's why the Gypsy and the Jew were so similar to Hitler. You see, because they were both into occultism, demonology. Yes, as a Kabbalist. Do you conjure demons? Solomon conjured demons. He controlled 72 demons. Now go to Hellraiser. What's in that box? Demons. Once you crack the code, here comes Pinhead and all these demons. So you ask, what is in that cube? Think hard about it.
Or harm. 1904, Crowley founded his religion, Thelema, after coming into contact with a spiritual entity named Aiwass, who also inspired his most famous book, the Book of the Law. Thelema shares similarities with the Golden Dawn in that they both draw upon aspects of Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and ceremonial magic. But why did he buy Boleskine House?
Kabbalah is a mystical and esoteric tradition within Judaism that explores the hidden secrets of the Torah, the sacred book of the Jews. Kabbalah acknowledges the existence of demons, which are malevolent spiritual beings, opposed to God and his angels. Demons are often associated with the forces of evil, chaos and death, and they seek to seduce, deceive, or harm humans. There are several classifications of demons in Kabbalah, based on their origin, nature, or function. Here are some examples of Kabbalistic demons. The Qliphoth, meaning shells, or husks, or demons that inhabit the lower realms of creation known as Asiya and Yetzirah. They are the remnants of divine energies that were shattered during the cosmic catastrophe, called Shavirat HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels. They represent the negative and inverted aspects of the 10 Sephiroth, the divine emanations that structure the universe. There are 10 Qliphoth, each with names such as Thamiel, Chagitel, Satoriel, Gamchakot, Golachab, Thagirian, Harab Serapel, Samael, Gamaliel, and Sitri, Belith, Larahe, Elagos, Zapar, Bodies, Bathan, Salos, Person, Marax, Ipos, Aim, Nabirius, and so on.
Key of Solomon, also known the Lesser Key of Solomon, also known as Lemegeton, is a 17th century grimoire that compiles earlier traditions of demonology and magic attributed to King Solomon. It's made up of 5 books. The 5 books are Ars Goetia, Ars Theurgia Goetia, Ars Paulina, Ars Almadel, and Ars Notoria. The text gives you all the info you need to summon and control demons and other spirits for all kinds of purposes, including getting knowledge and power. The Lesser Key of Solomon has been a big deal in Western occult traditions. It's a blend of Jewish, Christian, and ancient Mesopotamian and magical practices. It's been a big part of the development of ceremonial magic, and is still a foundational text for modern occultists and magicians. It is contributed to the esoteric tradition of the Western world. The Lesser Key of Solomon can be dangerous because it focuses on summoning demons. If you don't use these rituals properly, you could end up with some pretty bad psychological and spiritual problems, including mental health issues and things that go wrong with the supernatural. Another thing to watch out for is that trying to control these entities can make you feel like you're above it all, which can lead to ethical and spiritual problems.
The story of Solomon, and he basically gets this ring from God that allows him to control all the demons, and the demons have all these different abilities and stuff, and he ends up convincing one of them, like, hey, I got to build this temple. I'm not allowed to use iron or anything to cut it.
Yeah, God is like, I need you to build my temple, and you may not use iron on any of the stone.
So he convinces this demon to tell him where the secret tool is or whatever, and it's out in the middle of the desert, and it's, there's this weird story about a bird that is protecting it, and the way to get the tool from the bird is you trick the bird into thinking its nest is being attacked, and then it uses the shamir, and then you can grab it. It's essentially something like that. It's a really strange story.
Yeah.
The story of Solomon. And
did you know that the cross you wear, if you were to lay it out on a flat plane, you can fold it into a box? It forms a box, literally. So the cross you wear puts you in a box. But if the cross you bear, you carry it as a trap for demons, I suppose that's okay. But you have to be integrated enough to know who these entities are and who is in them, who is operating with gremlins, and who is simply distorted. You have to be more integrated to know the difference. Did you?
The box is open.
Okay. Porcella mentioned that Isis was shown with a cross on her forehead. Her priests carried processional crosses in their worship of her. The temple of Serapis in Alexandria was surmounted by a cross. The temple of the Sphinx, when it was unearthed, was found to be a cuneiform in shape. Ensigns in the form of a cross were carried by the Persians during the battles with Alexander the Great, BC 335. The cross was used as a religious symbol by the Aborigines of South America in ancient times. So all the other cultures used a cross to venerate whatever story that they had at the time. Now we're going to go to chapter 21, the mystery of the mixture, or the mystery of iniquity, right? The pagans worshipped and prayed to a mother goddess. So the fallen church adopted mother worship under the name of Mary. The pagans had gods and goddesses associated with various days, occupations, and events in life. Okay. This system was adopted, and the gods were called saints. Okay. The saints on the right-hand side of righteousness are the Israelites, the ones that are teaching the truth and so forth. The saints on the left are the different gods and goddesses on the left-hand side, okay? The pagans use statues and idols of their pagan deities in their worship. So the fallen church did also, simply calling them by different names. From ancient times, crosses in various forms were regarded in superstitious ways. Some of these ideas were adopted and associated with the cross of Christ. The cross as an image was outwardly honored, but the true finished sacrifice of the cross became obscured by the rituals of the Mass with its transubstantiation, mystery drama, and prayers for the dead. Repetitious prayers, rosaries, and relics were all adopted from paganism and given a surface appearance of Christianity. Okay, so the Catholic Church is just an offshoot of the Latin. Latin's just an offshoot of the Babylonian Kemetic mystery religion. It's all blended, okay? And they use the scriptures to justify a lot of the idolatry and practices that they venerate today. So we have this book right here, Black People Are Indigenous to the Americas, research material for the Inquisitive, okay? So right here we have the Corbin Bible. Real good book. Talks about Planet X, Planet Nibiru, or whatnot. Yahushua was then asked if he was one with God, and he answered, "It is not in me to state that which I know to be untrue, and truly there can be but one God alone. Because I have been granted visions and insight into things unseen and unknown to other men. What manner of man would I be did I claim equality with God?" That kills your Trinity doctrine, okay? "I have spoken only that which I am bidden. I have said, worship the Most High, who is my Father and yours," okay? Don't worship, quote unquote, Jesus, okay? Let's read that again. "I have said, worship God, who is my Father and your Father." Does this then raise me above other men? I have proclaimed all men my brothers, and if I have said I am even as God, then truly I have raised them up also. Yet this they cannot see, or is it that they fear the burden of their own godhood? Let's read a couple more. Okay. A man asked Yahushua, "Lord, what does it mean when it is written that the iniquities, which is sin, of the fathers shall be visited upon the children?" Yahushua said, "When a man commits a sin for which he does not make full recompense in his lifetime, then the same temptation is placed in the way of the son, for there is a bond of family blood between them. It is not manifest also that the wrongs a man does within his own household become the sins of the sons within their households. Wrongful living is the heritage of generations." I'll read a couple more. Okay. "For the kingdom of heaven is neither here or there and contains all good things. It is the hearts of men and exists where the Most High reigns. When the lion lies down with the lamb and peace reigns over all, there shall be found the kingdom of heaven. Yet truly heaven and the kingdom of heaven are not the same. These things were said in the forecourt of the temple." Check this one out. Right here. "It came to pass at this time that many said that Yahushua, or the Hamashiach, was the Messiah, but this was a manifest falsehood. Yahushua, the son of Joseph and Mary, was an inspired prophet, a teacher who held the hand of God, and there had been others before him. His mother was a decent woman. She wasn't a quote unquote goddess. Both ate food as humans do. Mary did not set herself up as a goddess, neither did she preach." Okay. We know that, the scripture does say that Christ was a prophet. Okay. So there is truth to that. Let's see. 350. "It is of no moment to those who are not Jews or Judeans whether Yahushua was the herald Messiah or not. So believe as you will. But were he born of a Holy Spirit and not of Joseph, then he did not fulfill the prophecy."